All right. Hey everybody, welcome back to Mr. Moser's virtual classroom away from Viewlands Elementary. I'm so happy to have you with me today, so thank you for being here. Today's lesson is going to be a little bit similar to what we talked about on Friday. We started to talk about comparing and contrasting things in our lives. So finding similarities, things that are the same, and things that are different in books, in our lives, maybe in food that we like and don't like. So today we're going to continue that, but first we are going to do the most important part of our day. We are going to talk about how we feel. It's so important for us to place ourselves on the mood meter and talk about how we feel, because when we know how we feel, it helps us be better friends and better students to the other people that are also important in our lives, because we never know how they might be feeling. So if we talk about it with one another, we're able to remind friends of strategies that they can use. We can empathize with one another by recognizing, oh, maybe one of my friends is sad today, I'm going to be extra nice. So we always want to talk about how we feel with people that we care about so that we know what boat they're in today. We're knowing what's going on in their head a little bit. So today, when I look at the mood meter, I ask myself, where do I fall today? Do I feel happy or mad, sad or calm? And I know that wherever I fall is okay. So wherever you fall on the mood meter is okay too. And remember that sometimes you might be in the blue zone, sometimes you might be in the red zone, and sometimes people that you love and care about, they might be in these zones too. So we can all work together during a time like this to really think about how the people that we see and know in our lives are feeling. And also think, is there a way that I can maybe help other people feel better and move to maybe the yellow or green zone? What are little things I can do in my life to move them to these zones? So today I feel pretty good. I feel in the yellow zone. I feel happy. I am ready to learn with my friends and I'm ready to lead this lesson. So I guess I'm kind of in between the calm and the happy zone today. I feel productive, ready to learn, but I'm also happy to be here and I feel good. So how do you feel? What zone are you in today? The other day we read a story called Toot and Puddle. Now, this is one of my favorite stories for us to talk about when we're learning about comparing and contrasting things, because both of these characters are very similar. They're both pigs. They both wear clothes. They both are nice, but they also have things that are different about them too. Toot, one of our characters, really likes to stay at home and adventure in his own backyard, but Puddle, he likes to adventure the world. So they have a few differences too. But the differences that we find in people and the differences that we maybe have from even our very best friends and loved ones, they actually make our world a better place. Because when we are different, we can conversate with other people more, we can ask them things that we might not know as much about, and we can continue to grow our brains together. So today we're going to continue this topic of finding comparisons and contrasts between things, finding similarities and differences with the book Pete the Cat. This book is about this beloved character, Pete the Cat, who has lots of adventures that he goes on in our classroom, and I'm sure you've seen him in books in maybe your classrooms too. So Pete, he really wants to have someone to play with him and do what he wants to do. So somehow he makes a robot version of himself. We're gonna see how that works out. So, Pete the Cat, Robo-Pete by James Dean. Here's Pete, reading with his friends. What a great sunny morning. Pete can't wait to play baseball with his friends. Do you want to play catch? Pete asks Larry. I can't, says Larry. I'm going to the library. Do you want to play catch? Pete asks Callie. I was about to go for a bike ride, says Callie. Do you want to play catch? Pete asks John. I can't right now, says John. I have to paint the fence. Pete wishes his friends would do what he wants to do. It's no fun playing catch all by himself. If only I knew another me, Pete thinks. And just like that, Pete has a great idea. Pete builds a robot. He programs it to be just like him. Wow. Here's his robot. Here's his memory chip. That must be where he programs him to have some of Pete's likes and dislikes. Welcome to the world, Robo-Pete, Pete says to the robot. You're my new best friend. We'll do everything together. And I want to play catch, says Pete. Great idea, says Robo-Pete. So far, I'm seeing some things that I can compare between the two that are the same. I notice that Pete is blue and Robo-Pete is also blue. What else do you notice that's the same about these two characters? Pete and Robo-Pete play catch. Wow, says Pete, running after the ball. You sure can throw far. Robo-Pete throws farther and farther until... Time out, says Pete as he tries to catch his breath. Let's play something else. I want to play whatever you want to play, says Robo-Pete proudly. How about we play hide and seek, says Pete. That will be fun, says Robo-Pete. Regular Pete. Pete finds the best hiding place ever. He's sure Robo-Pete will never find him. Can you tell where he's hiding? I wonder what that place is. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, shouts Robo-Pete. Ready or not, here I come. Gotcha! That didn't sound like Robo-Pete. Shouts Robo-Pete, tagging Pete. Hey, how did you find me? Says Pete. With my homing device, says Robo-Pete. I can find anyone, anywhere. Okay, enough hide and seek, says Pete. Let's play some guitar. What do you think the characters might have in common? Or maybe what differences do you think they might have when they move on to their next activity, playing guitar? Let's see. Pete teaches Robo-Pete how to play a song he made up. You have to feel the music, Pete explains. Okay, says Robo-Pete. To feel it, I need to play loud, explains Robo-Pete. Pete tries to stop Robo-Pete, but Robo-Pete can't hear him over the noise. This is fun, says Robo-Pete. This is awful, says Pete the cat. Okay, says Robo-Pete. Let's ride our skateboards instead. Before Pete can answer, Robo-Pete's feet transform into a motorized skateboard with super speedy wheels. Let's go, Robo-Pete shouts. Wait, calls Pete. Pete chases after Robo-Pete. He has no idea where Robo-Pete is going. Robo-Pete crashes into the sandbox at the playground. Are you okay? Pete asks his robot. I am a robot. I am indestructible, says Robo-Pete. What is this strange place? It's a playground, says Pete. He waves to all his friends. This is Robo-Pete, Pete says to Callie, Larry, and John. I made him myself. Cool, says Larry. We are going to help John finish painting, says Callie. And then we're going to go bike riding. I want to go on the slide, interrupts Robo-Pete. Oh, so he should say that in a robot voice. I want to go on the slide, interrupts Robo-Pete. Sometimes when I'm reading, even I make mistakes. That's okay, and I can always go back and fix them. Not a big deal. Robo-Pete, I want to help my friends paint the fence, Pete tells his robot. Wow, that is so nice that Pete wants to help his friends to do their chores. Sometimes if we help out other friends, then what they're doing gets done faster and we can play even quicker. Paint the fence, that would be great, Robo-Pete says. I am programmed to paint faster than anyone. Pete and his friends try to help, but Robo-Pete paints too fast. So instead, they ride bikes and they read books. And after Robo-Pete is done painting, they help him clean the brushes. Was that kind of them? Why is it nice to help other friends clean up, even if they're robots? Pete realizes that it doesn't matter what they do. Just being with his friends is what makes it fun. And look, we even got Robo-Pete in there. All right, friends, thank you so much for reading that story with me. We are going to do just a really quick lesson now on finding some of the similarities and differences between Pete, the regular cat, and Robo-Pete, the robot version of Pete. So once again, I have my Venn diagram. In a Venn diagram, I set up 2 circles. In the first circle, which is for just regular Pete the cat, this is where I can say just some differences that make Pete himself all by himself. Special things to Pete, such as Pete is a real cat, right? Is Robo-Pete a real cat? No. So can I put real cat under Robo-Pete? Can I put it in the section where both Pete and Robo-Pete have some overlapping area? This is where we write what is the same about them? No, because Robo-Pete's not a cat. Only Pete is a cat. So I am going to write right here, Pete, he's a cat. Now, I'm not the best illustrator, but sometimes I try to draw a picture so that later on when I look at my notes, I say, oh, I know what I meant there. So Pete is a cat. So there's my little illustration of a cat. Doesn't have to be perfect. Now, is there anything else that you can think of, a difference that Pete has from Robo-Pete that makes him his own individual thing? He's a cat. He's blue. Wait, but when I look at my picture of Robo-Pete, kind of far back, Robo-Pete and Pete the cat, they both are different shades of blue. Robo-Pete looks like a lighter blue. Pete the cat is dark blue, but they're both blue. So I actually don't just want to write Pete blue right here, but under this section where both of their circles overlap, I can write blue because they're both blue. Blue. Now, what else is a similarity or difference between Pete the cat and Robo-Pete? Well, when I think about Robo-Pete and I think about what I read in the story, there were a few times where Robo-Pete was really, really strong. He was efficient. He was good at getting things done. He threw the ball really far. He could paint the fence the fastest. He even found Pete when Pete was trying to hide for hide and seek. So Robo-Pete, I'm going to write strong. He's really, really strong. Now, for Pete, I didn't include that he was strong. It's not a bad thing. Sometimes when we're comparing and contrasting, we just notice if one maybe character or thing is really showing a lot of this trait, that means that we would put it in their section. So when I say that Robo-Pete is strong, I'm not saying Pete the cat isn't strong. I'm just saying this is something I noticed about Robo-Pete that really made him his own individual character. He was really strong. Now, there's probably a few other things I could fill out in here, trying to find some similarities and differences. So I'm going to continue to work on that, and I want you to continue to work on that in your own home. So you can use this picture and you can go ahead and pause the screen and think or talk to someone else about what else you noticed were some traits or observations that you made about Pete and Robo-Pete that were the same or that were different. Now, as we've been talking about, when we find differences between our friends, that actually is a really good thing. So, the more differences you can find, the better. Same with similarities. All right, so have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you tomorrow for another story.